Cash Jordan, definitely subscribe to him on YouTube. This is his video. New York City is collapsing as streets turn into ghost towns. Okay, obviously his video is sponsored by American Financing. Subscribe to him, like his video, go to the video, do all the things. While you're there, subscribe to me because I'm awesome. Anyway.
For sponsoring this video.
I'm sure you get where we're going with this one, right? Yeah. Yeah.
So researchers say a single adult needs to make more than about $138,000 to live, and a family of four needs more than about $318,000.
Well, with numbers like that, it's no wonder living in New York feels impossible right now. And the most
I do like working in and around New York, though. Like, I don't know if you guys know, I'm a construction worker, like by trade. I do this stuff because I think it's fun. But anyway. If you go to, depending on where you go, like if you're working on the road, you'll get a different amount of per diem just based on like the cost of living where you go. If you go to New York, you're gonna get like $250 fucking dollars a day. It's crazy.
Thing is that
but then again, you also get paid the most amount in terms of hourly there too, just because the cost of living is so goddamn high.
rents, even though they're sky high right now, don't tell the whole story, as literally everything in this town is waiting to bankrupt someone the moment they leave their apartment. And that's why nobody here can ever say they
Yeah, I don't smoke, but a pack of cigarettes in New York's like $20. That's all I'm saying.
feel like they've made it.
New York City is
no.
the most expensive city.
Listen, you gotta have $1 million just to live in a one-bedroom studio apartment on the 6th floor of some complex in New York City, all right? It's awful.
City in the world. Rents are sky high. There are record numbers of violations for private landlords this year. For 6 years, we've gone into countless homes.
Buying a cut of meat will cut a bigger chunk out of your wallet. Prices are now up 10% with the USDA.
Oh yeah, while I was in the military for like 5 minutes, there was this girl that I knew that was from New York City, and she said she had to have like 3 jobs and also roommates just to live in like an apartment. Like it was apparently that bad. Because like you got to think, the rent is sky high, but also so is the cost of like all the groceries and gas and everything. Like they didn't have cars. Fuck that shit. Like man, it was bad.
Expecting prices to rise another 20% this year.
Higher prices pretty much across the board, so that does make it more difficult to set extra money aside or make any long-term plans.
We're living in 2 separate economies. The American dream that was pitched to the Gen Xers and the Boomers is no longer present.
A lot of people, particularly
Not in New York City, it's not.
the working class and the part of the middle class, don't think their children will be as well off as they will. That's a problem.
Over the course of the year, they might make enough money to pay for basic living expenses and cover their bills. But if one major thing happens, then they can get behind.
What do you do? What do you do here for those looking for more comfortable life financially decisions here? They say.
Whoa, hold on. Go back to that. Can you see? Jesus Christ! This is the dude's sink. This is the apartment they're paying $1,500 a month for. This is crazy.
You do here for those looking for more comfortable life financially decisions here. They say you should just move to Texas.
Okay.
What?
So this article says if you live in Manhattan, you've got $30,000 of spending power after you pay your bills and eat.
Yeah, they already tax you like 50% of your income.
Something, but
we'll cover that in a minute, but they already tax you like 50% of your fucking income.
What nobody's talking about is as bad as the costs of living are here today, they're only going to get worse tomorrow because the unaffordability crisis here is one of the worst in the country. And as you're about to see, anyone making 6 figures a year here, someone who'd normally find themselves in the upper 22% of American households, gets to live like a starving college student as the necessities of life, like food and shelter, cost more here for reasons that should not exist, but do. Because in this city, we've passed truckloads of progressive laws that are meant.
Dude, I want to point out that this, I'm going to back this up a little bit.
Food and shelter cost more.
This oven is small enough to be plugged into a 6-way extension cord. Okay, can we just point that shit out? This is fucking nuts.
We're here for reasons that should not exist, but do. Because in this city, we've passed truckloads of progressive laws that are meant to help people, but just end up driving them straight into the poorhouse. And the first of those would be New York City's hated congestion taxes, which toll every car and truck on the road just for driving. That money is supposed to be used to save Mother Earth and rejuvenate our subway, but it's doing neither. And instead, the effect...
That's what it was promised to be used for, but in reality, it just lines the pockets of the people that complain about the oligarchy.
Effects are being passed on to those buying food at grocery stores delivered by truck. Add to that the taxes and fees paid by every business just to exist. And it's no wonder everything you buy here costs an arm and a leg. And that brings us to the real reason living expenses here just go up and up and up and up. It's the law. And those laws, not only are they not changing, but soon they may get even worse. And experts are saying that in just a few weeks, apartment prices are about to go through the roof.
They're going to, but listen, first of all, this video was made 4 months ago. We're going to talk in a little bit about some shit that's going to make it even worse than whatever Cash Jordan's having to say.
As in addition to managing and repairing these buildings, using contractors like plumbers who drive trucks and get taxed.
Also, what is the point of these people writing their bullshit ass names and quote unquote tagging stuff? Like, what even is the point of that? Like, why does it give you street cred? What is so fucking good about it? All it does is make the wall look like shit. Like, that's it. That's all that it does.
Just for showing up.
It's effectively fucking, this person was here. Like, that's really what it is. It is the most childish behavior ever. Like, if you want to go out there and you want to, like, actually create something that's pretty cool and like, artistic, then maybe you could make an argument for it. But walking around and then tagging it with Beans Cross is fucking crazy.
Landlords will soon be forced to pay the broker's fees for every apartment rented in town, which at first might sound good, but will just end up raising rents because landlords only get their money from one person, and that's the person who pays rent. And as you're about to see, even if you live in a nice apartment here, you're still fighting a losing battle.
All right, show me the nice apartment. What do we got? Okay, all right. We got some stairs. Is this the apartment? Okay, this is the apartment. That's it? What the fuck? Hold on, what? Is this your backyard?
It's a pretty cool 2-bedroom. Now, the rent is gonna blow your mind. It's $63.95 per month, and if that sounds like a lot, there's another 2-bedroom in here, and it's $1,000 cheaper, but no deck, so you'll have to decide.
Wait, hold on. $6,000? Is that what you're saying?
If you want this nice patio or not. But on the plus side, it's massive compared to everything else.
$6,395. Is that what? Because, I mean, he's not saying $63 a month. That's not what he's saying. Is that, what? Dude, fuck no. Fuck no. All right, I own a house and I only pay $1,600 a month in a mortgage. Okay, and honestly, whenever I first got the house, it was closer to $15. It only recently went up because fucking insurance rates went up. But like, regardless, that is wild. I own a house that is bigger than this with a lot of land, and I'm telling you, this is fucking crazy.
Find around here. I guess the only problem with it is if you move into a place like this and you feel broke after paying the rent every month for the first year, that feeling might not.
That's because you're spending $6,000 a month for some bullshit ass 2-bedroom hole in the wall with a concrete backyard.
Go away next year, especially if the rent goes up, which it might have to because we're in the middle of a housing crisis. But as you're about to see, that's not the only reason people are having trouble getting by in this city.
This is a mock monthly household budget for an American family in 1985.
Okay.
We can see that most expenses scaled with inflation.
Look. I know I am no one to like make fun of animation quality, but this is kind of funny. Like, you gotta admit, he just like holds his phone up to the camera. Fucking Chad, man, love it.
With a few exceptions, but these numbers are not accounting for a big X factor.
Millennials have larger student loan balances, bigger mortgages, much bigger car payments than...
To be fair, millennials have large student loan balances for shit that does not matter at all. They were tricked into going to college because they thought that's what they had to do. And then when they got there, they decided to get something in underwater basket weaving and lesbian tap dance theory, which both of those things are real, by the way. They decided to spend $100,000 and get a 4-year degree in that shit instead of getting a degree in something that matters. Now, that's not all of them, but that is an awful lot of them. And now they expect you to pay off that debt. Fuck you.
So even though some expenses might feel like they've gone way up, a lot of what we pay for regularly has kept pace with inflation, except for the two things you might need to get a place like this. And we're talking about credit card debt and household debt. Household debt would be your student loans. If you've got a degree, you might have those. And with spending power in this city being as low as it already is, if you've got to pay back the cost of your degree on top of that, it is very well possible that you could find yourself fighting a losing battle for financial independence. Especially when you consider that a $100,000 income here is only worth about 30 grand once you've paid your rent and fed yourself. Your money's gonna be...
That's what I'm saying. You need to make like $1 million a year just to fucking live in New York City.
Gone before you know it, especially since the value of that $100,000 pay gives you $500 less of spending power in 2025 than it did in 2024. And as you're about to see, the traditional methods of taking care of yourself while avoiding bankruptcy aren't available to many like they used to be.
We're living in two separate economies. The American dream that was pitched to the Gen Xers and the Boomers is no longer present in today's world.
A lot of people, particularly the working class and the part of the middle class, don't think their children will be as well off as they were. That's a problem.
So this video claims that the American idea of owning a home and having low debt just doesn't exist like it used to, especially for people who might be exerting themselves to a greater degree than ever just to pay rent.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Listen, I own a house, but I worked my ass off to get this, okay? Nothing was given to me. It is very difficult to do, but it is possible. As long as you have... Look, as long as you have a solid savings plan, you should... And you pay your fucking bills on time and you have a decent credit score... You should be able to get a house with $10,000, okay? Especially if it's your first house, because you can go out, you can get an FHA, as long as you have a decent job with some decent payment history. Even if it's a 1099, it doesn't matter. It requires a couple of extra documents, but you should be able to do it still, even with a 1099, okay? You just need to have the $10,000 down, or $10,000. That way you have enough for whatever you're going to be able to put down, and then some additional fees, right? Like in case you got to fix something up because you're not getting a turnkey property, because those typically cost a little bit more. But you should be able to get a house with 10 grand, like as long as you have decent credit. All you need is a solid savings plan to be able to get that. And honestly, 10% of your income needs to get put directly into the savings account, okay? If you can't live on 90% of your income, then something else is wrong. It's not a savings thing for you. And you'd be surprised how fast that 10% actually adds up. That's all I'm saying.
And part of the reason for that is if rents rise 5 to 10% per year in certain apartments and your raise is about the same, your ability to get a job and start climbing an economic ladder just doesn't really exist. And it's certainly not the fault of the landlords. They're not the ones blocking the construction of new buildings that would make them more money and free up housing for renters. They also don't set property tax rates either, which when those go up, essentially force everyone else's rent up. And that's something that nobody talks about. And to many people, rising rents, rising grocery store prices, and then fees like congestion taxes, which make it impossible to drive, those might make it sound like moving out of New York City is a better idea than moving in if you don't have a specific purpose to be here. And as you're about to see, even if you decide to move out of a place like Manhattan and go somewhere else, the grass isn't actually any greener as far as affordability is concerned.
When we look at home buying, as we all know, we're in historically tight housing markets. There are very few homes on the market, and those that are on the market are extremely expensive, not to mention expensive mortgage rates.
Yeah, fucking leave New York, man. Like, mass exodus, get the hell out. Go live somewhere else.
And the prices of homes has escalated over the last few decades much faster than actual incomes. So it is actually...
So let's imagine for a second that one were to move out of New York City and maybe accept a mid to upper level position at a company somewhere else where the cost of living is lower. Well, you still might not experience the financial independence people say they leave the city to go and get. And that's because buying a home in 2025 America, well, it's harder than it's ever been. And if you can't buy a home, you're gonna be paying rent somewhere, and your rent's just gonna always go up and eat into what you are earning.
Yeah, that's another thing. The reason that I own a house is because it was cheaper to fucking own the house than it was to rent it. Because if I were to rent, so the house that I have is 3-bedroom, 2-bath, about 2,000 square feet, right? It's a pretty decently small house. I mean, it's nothing crazy. But I pay $1,600 a month now. If I was to rent a house this size with the land that I have where I'm at, it would cost me about $2,500, $2,600 a month to rent this bitch. All right, it is $1,000 cheaper a month to own the house. And again, it doesn't take much.
It's not like things improve in other parts of New York City.
Now, this isn't in New York City, don't get me wrong. I don't fucking live in New York. Fuck that shit. But it's too damn expensive for anybody to live in New York. You have to make $1 million, and they want to punish you for that here in the future. Like, it's crazy.
Yes, we're in a premium part of town where there's a popularity tax to the neighborhood, but in Brooklyn and in Queens, you're not exactly saving money either. And we're not even talking about home ownership. If you rent in Brooklyn, you get about an extra 10 grand of spending power. In Queens, it's relatively similar, revealing that there certainly is no such thing as a free lunch in this town or any town in America anymore. And in New York City, the housing shortage is just being made worse, in spite of the fact that people are passing laws that are trying to help. And the problem is prices still keep going up, and our leaders are considering even more extreme.
And the fact that you still have people like right on top of you is wild. I would hate that.
Measures to try and save people money, which may actually completely destroy the housing market here even further and faster. And we're not just talking about landlords having to pay more money to rent their apartments. We're talking about other policies that restrict the supply of available apartments when what we need are more apartments. Like a recent policy which eliminated the ability of landlords to bring an apartment to market if it previously had rent control. And as you're about to see, rising home prices do more than just threaten the short-term futures of New Yorkers and Americans. They also put the long-term futures and expectations of all of us in grave jeopardy. And this is happening in ways nobody ever expected. With everything happening in the economy, it feels like we're walking on shaky ground. Prices are stuck at really high levels, and it seems like nothing is affordable anymore. It's no wonder why many are relying on credit cards to cover gaps. But because
many are relying on EBT for that shit, but that's getting taken away, and now they're pissed off about it, which, to be fair, that's probably also a reason why they escalated the price so much, because they knew Uncle Sam was picking up the bill.
Because of that, credit card debt is skyrocketing, and it's leaving a lot of people tapped out. But if you're a homeowner, you don't have to face this uncertainty alone. My friends at American Financing can help you take control. They can help you access the equity in your home to help you pay down that high-interest credit card debt, giving you peace of mind and real 4844. So, in a country where you can't afford to rent anything, let alone buy anything, the traditional way that Americans have built wealth for themselves and for their families through home ownership is just not there.
Dude, there's a strip club right behind him called Fantasy Dance. I'm just saying.
Anymore,
he's on a random corner in New York City and there's a strip club behind him.
Used to be, and that's a problem. Whether you live in New York, whether you move and take your money with you, if you can't
There's a whole ass pole going through the middle of that small bathroom.
There are some people who now think it has doomed our entire country, which may or may not be true.
Not being able to save for a home has big retirement implications for millennials and Gen Z.
Those who don't own homes, now those are people who are in real trouble. They're trying to save to get their own place. They're paying high rent somewhere. They're commuting a long distance or trying to work at home so they can save a check.
So the idea here is that homes are just so expensive and so overpriced that you'll never be able to buy one, and thus that American dream will always be out of reach. But I've got a pretty logical question here. If you go out and buy a home, and it was a home you could barely afford, and you were so fortunate that you were one of the people that earned enough money to go and buy that place, who's gonna come along and buy it from you, right? Like, if you were the only person that could buy it, how do you expect that in 20 years there's gonna be millions of people out there who can go and buy your place and allow it to appreciate?
Well, hopefully the Republicans will take charge and fix everything by then, and will deport all the illegal aliens, so now U.S. citizens are allowed to actually take those jobs. And because they're U.S. citizens and not illegal immigrants, they should be able to get paid a decent living wage, which will then put more money back into the economy, forcing people, forcing rates to go down, because they'll probably end up buying or building new buildings, building new complexes rather, making there more availability in the market, so the supply will go up, which means the demand will go down, which means the prices will actually stabilize. And also, if you get rid of all of this crazy tax policies that New York and specifically New York City has, then the prices will actually go down then too. Now, it's a little more difficult for them to go back down because obviously people that own the building don't want to lose money on it, but your income can go up, or you can just go and buy a house, or even in this case, fucking build one somewhere outside of the city, because who wants to live on the 6th floor in the middle of some crazy apartment complex? I don't want to carry the couch up there. Screw that.
If job growth and wages look like they're stagnating while home prices are just going up, the idea that home ownership is a stable 30-year plan to spend nothing on living costs, well, that idea is just gone now, isn't it? Because there might not be anybody around to buy your house in 20 or 30 years. And now the experts are saying buying a home is a bad idea, and most people will...
That's a lie. That is a lie. Historically speaking, buying a house is not a lousy investment ever. Historically speaking, it has been the absolute best, right there alongside precious metals in terms of a hedge against inflation and a hedge against uncertain markets. They are not making more gold. They are not making more land. Okay, let's just get that shit out of the way right now. Owning a house, even if you let it get run down, is usually better than not owning a house. Flat out. I don't know why Warren Buffett said that, but it also says Benzinga at the top, so I don't know necessarily how truthful or trustworthy this is. I just know that it's wrong.
Will lose money doing this. Warren Buffett says that interest, property taxes, and insurance account for a significant portion of your monthly mortgage.
It is, yes, that's fair.
Payments. And unless you...
But only if you have it escrowed in, which you don't... Not everybody does. Some people do because it's just easier, like I do, for example. That's why it went up from $1,500 to $1,600, because insurance went up. But no, it's not really usually a lousy investment. It's usually a good fucking investment to own a house. Owning is always better than renting in every sense of the phrase.
You just bought a rundown New York City apartment, you'll probably want to repair the place. Something that our housing crisis here doesn't force homeowners to do, as things appreciate no matter what. But only if you're one of the few who was ever able to buy something here. And instead of scraping your funds together to try and buy a property that's so overpriced you could barely afford it, and no one who comes after you will be able to afford it, perhaps you should look at something other than home ownership. That's what the Warren Buffetts, the Dave Ramseys of the world, and even the Graham Steffans of the world are telling people.
Well, the Trumps of the world bought the property there, and now they're billionaires, so here we are.
The idea is you can do just fine for yourself if you pursue other, easier to acquire.
I have stocks. I don't trust them as much. Call me crazy, and it's the same reason I don't like crypto either. Though, realistically, I should have bought Bitcoin when I had the chance many years ago. But I don't like the fact that if something's completely digital, I don't like the fact that somebody can just, like, walk up and hit a button and now all of that's worthless. I like to have physical things that I can hold.
Acquire investments than a piece of property. And now the prevailing wisdom seems to be that someone could buy stocks or bonds or investments. And according to the experts, these types of investments don't have any of the problems owning a home would have, like the government coming after you with higher property tax.
Yeah, you shouldn't own a house. Don't worry about that. We'll buy that building and we'll take care of all that mess for you, okay? I'm saying this for your benefit.
You certainly don't have to pay a whole lot to maintain a stock portfolio. And look, even if your life's a disaster and you're really hard up, you could make some lifestyle choices today that would help you get ahead tomorrow. And none of those involve trying to own some piece of property.
Blaming millennials for spending too much on avocado toast.
It's not student loans or a tough job market keeping millennials from buying homes. It's reportedly avocado toast.
The one piece of advice for young people out there who are spending their money on avocado toast and don't have any goals, what would you say to them?
I would say to them, get as much pleasure out of saving as you do spending.
So if you were to buy less stuff at places like this candy store, you'd have more money for...
Yeah, listen, you need to save your money, but also don't just hold it in some bank account somewhere because it's actively losing interest that way. It's losing buying power just because of inflation. So if you're going to hold it in things like precious metals. If you want to put it in the stock market, go throw it in the S&P 500. Go throw it. I have some like penny stocks, but because that's just, that's money that I don't expect to ever get back, though it is doing well for me right now. Hold it in precious metals. Hold it in stuff that actually matters, like invest in real estate. Take your money that you've saved up and reinvest it back into like renovations on your house or something. Because that way it doesn't actually lose any kind of purchasing power.
Other things that might actually bring you some long-term benefit. Longer than the benefit you'll get from eating these turtle chips or even these Smart Puffs in cosmic white cheddar. Buying your own food, making it at home, that's the best way to start saving some money. And if you're willing to make your own coffee at home, make your own salads, you won't go broke buying something even like fast food, which is now way more expensive.
Dude, this Taco Bell's in the bottom of an apartment complex. That's funny.
Than it used.
You know what? I bet they get a lot of business.
To be. And you certainly won't have to try and live a life of crime to get ahead, which is wrong and doesn't pay.
Oh, look, a nebulous race youth. I wonder. Look, I'm just saying.
Certainly is a lot of burglary going on in this neighborhood, but speaking of burglary, the real theft happens from things that we don't even think about, like DoorDash. I mean, delete that immediately. There's no reason to be paying for someone to bring you food from some restaurant. That's just an expensive way to live, and it's going to give you no benefit. And look, if you're so self-conscious that you don't want to be seen without a latte in your hand, you can buy some latte cups on Amazon for cheaper than buying actual lattes at Starbucks. You can get 100 cups for $25. That's like 6 lattes at Starbucks right there. What's up, man? Does it work? It works. It works? All right. Does it ever get so heavy you got to take it down?
As soon as they catch any fish that's heavy, the biscuit.
Awesome, man. But the thing here to be wary of is lifestyle creep. If you've got to have that $12, $15 salad after you've had a $7 breakfast somewhere, you're going to dig yourself a financial hole before you even get home. And if that happens, you're not going to be able to take advantage of any of the opportunities that are out there, even if they're different opportunities. What do you think about that? Is lifestyle creep the problem that a lot of people have with their future? Are they mortgaging it away today on stuff like Netflix and...
Dude, he's making it sound like, and to be fair, it's probably true, he's making it sound like eating food in New York City is the same as eating food in an airport terminal, where you're going to get a sandwich, but that sandwich is $18, which is crazy, but it's $18. You want to go and get that bottle of water? Fine, $12. You're not allowed to take anything aerosolized through security, but you can buy it in the fucking terminal for $30.
Salads and Taco Bell. Or is that the American dream, Netflix?
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, living in New York City is extremely fucking expensive, and apparently it's a lot like being in an airport terminal, so that's kind of funny. Subscribe to me on YouTube unless you are tired of YouTube, and then go ahead and follow me and subscribe to me on Rumble, because I'm everywhere the videos are made. You can follow me on X if you'd like. I am at real_Sestill. I make based opinions all the time. Anyway, it was fun talking with you guys again this week. Bye.